everyone, and welcome to Clearing the Air, a podcast where we tackle critical environmental issues. I am your host, Rachel, and today we are exploring air pollution. It's a silent killer with profound impacts on our health, environment, and the planet's future. We are joined today by an amazing panel. Firstly, we have Dr. Kishtina, an environmental scientist. Next, we have Miss Farahia, an urban planner focusing on sustainable cities. We also have Miss Analia, a community activist. And then we also have Miss Fatin, a high school student with a passion for environmental issues. And lastly, we have Miss Ifti, who is a renewable energy specialist. In this podcast, we will have four segments. Segment 1, we will understand air pollution. In segment 2, we will be discussing about real life impacts, while in segment 3, we will be talking about health impacts. And in last segment, which is segment 4, we will be talking about solutions and innovations. Let's dive in by asking Dr. Kirsina a question. Doctor, could you kick things off by explaining what air pollution is and why it's such a critical issue?
Sure, Rachel. Air pollution occurs when harmful substances such as gases, chemicals, and particulate matter enter the atmosphere. These pollutants come from natural sources like wildfires, but most are human made. Burning fossil fuels, industrial emissions, and agricultural activities. The problem is global. Air pollution affects human health, causing respiratory diseases, cardiovascular issues, and millions of premature deaths annually. It's also a major driver of climate change, trapping heat and disrupting the ecosystems.
That's really troubling, Dr. Kiss. It's really alarming to think about how deeply air pollution affects both our health and the environment. Millions of lives are impacted each year, and it is clear that this is a global crisis we cannot ignore. Well, Ms. Farahia, you've worked extensively as an urban planner in cities where populations are dense and activities are concentrated. What would you say are the most significant contributors to air pollutions?
In urban areas, transportation is the largest contributor. Cars, buses, and trucks emit pollutions like nitrogen oxides. Industrial zones and factories also release harmful chemicals. Constructions generates dust, and improper waste management, such as open burning, release toxins into the air. Urban designs also plays a role. Dense, poorly ventilated areas trap pollutants, creating pockets of unhealthy air.
Thanks for that insight, Ms. Farahia. It's clear that urban areas face a unique set of challenges when it comes to managing air pollution, especially with so many contributing factors. Well, Ms. Analia, how does this affect communities, especially marginalized ones?
Air pollution disproportionately impacts low income and marginalized communities. These areas often lack green spaces and are located near highways or factories. Residents breathe polluted air daily, leading to a higher rate of asthma, heart disease, and other health problems. I've worked with families in these neighborhoods, and it is heartbreaking to see kids using inhalers because they live next to a power plant. These communities also have less access to healthcare, which worsens the impact.
That's a stark reality. Well, Fatin, as a student, how does air pollution affect your generation?
Oh, it's scary, Rachel. On bad air quality days, we're told to stay indoors, which limit outdoor activities and sports. It's frustrating because we're the ones who will have to deal with the long-term consequences. But it also makes us more determined. At school, we talk about solutions and work on projects to raise awareness. We feel a responsibility to create change.
That's a powerful perspective, Fatin. It's heartbreaking to think that young people like you who should be enjoying outdoors activities and building healthy lifestyles are forced to stay indoors because of poor air quality. Well, Ifti, as a renewable energy specialist, how does energy production contribute to air pollution?
That is a critical point, Rachel. Energy production from fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas is one of the largest contributors to air pollution. Burning these fuels releases pollutants like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and particulate matter. Renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower are clean alternatives. They produce little to no air pollution and can significantly reduce our reliance on harmful energy sources.
Thank you so much, Miss Ifti, for highlighting the connection so clearly. It is eye opening to see how much of our air pollution is tied to energy production and our reliance on fossil fuels. Dr. Kristina, could you elaborate on how air pollution affects our health?
Certainly, when we inhale polluted air, fine particles and gases enter our lungs and bloodstreams. This can lead to respiratory conditions like asthma and bronchitis, as well as cardiovascular diseases. For children, prolonged exposure can stunt lung development, while pregnant women face risks like premature births. Studies also link air pollution to cognitive decline and neurological disorders in older adults.
Oh, those impacts are really severe, Dr. Kristina. Well, Miss Farahia, do urban areas have strategies to protect residents?
Yes, but more can be done. Cities can expand monitoring systems to identify high pollution zones and enforce regulations to limit emissions. Creating green buffers like parks and tree-lined streets can also help mitigate pollution.
Well, in this segment, let's focus on solutions. Miss Ifti, how can renewable energy help reduce air pollution?
Renewable energy is a game changer. Solar and wind energy don't emit pollutants during operation. Transitioning to renewables can replace coal-fired power plants and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Governments can incentivize clean energy adoption through subsidies, tax breaks, and investments in green infrastructure.
That's a fantastic point, Miss Ifti. It's clear that renewable energy has the potential to revolutionize how we produce energy while drastically reducing air pollution. Miss Analia, what can communities do to address air pollution?
Grassroots efforts are essentials. Communities can organize clean air campaign, plant trees, and advocate for better public transportation. Simple actions like carpooling or switching to energy efficient appliances also make a difference. The key is unity. When communities come together, they can push for a meaningful change.
Thank you, Miss Analia. It's inspiring to hear how grassroots efforts can make a difference. Organizing clean air campaigns and advocating for public transportation are powerful ways to create a change. And even small steps, like carpooling or using energy efficient appliances, can add up when done collectively. Well, Fatin, how can students and young people contribute?
We have a big role to play. We can raise awareness on social media, join environmental clubs, and participate in clean-up drives. We also need to educate ourselves and use our voices to demand action from leaders. Even small actions like biking to school or reduce waste can add up.
That's a fantastic perspective, Fatin. It's inspiring to see how students and young people like you are stepping up, not only by raising awareness, but by actively participating in initiatives like cleanup drives and environmental clubs. Dr. Krishna, what role do policymakers play in addressing air pollution?
Policymakers are crucial. They can enforce stricter emissions regulations, invest in renewable energy, and promote public transportation. Funding research on pollution control technologies is also vital. On an international level, collaboration is key. Treaties like the Paris Agreement encourage countries to work together to combat pollution and climate change.
This has been an eye opening discussion. Air pollution is a complex challenge, but as we've heard, solutions exist. From renewable energy to grassroots movements, everyone has a role to play. Well, big thank you to Dr. Kishtina, Miss Farahia, Miss Analia, Fatin, and Miss Ifti for sharing your expertise and perspectives. To our listeners out there, let's commit to cleaner air for future generations. Every small action matters. This is Rachel signing off from Clearing the Air. Let's work together for a healthier planet. Goodbye!